Video games. Pretty simple concept. A movie that you can fuck with. Now, everyone has a personal preference towards what types of games they enjoy. But for me, as long as it's not a Madden or an Activision, I'll basically play anything. But for something to be your personal favorite, that's a different can of worms entirely. Personally, a game needs to shake me. It needs to not leave my mind. Or it needs to be a game I grew up on. Either way, I just want to talk about my personal favorite games of all time. Now, there's a running joke that I only like the controversial games. This video isn't a joke. These are my genuine opinions. If you disagree with them, that's perfectly fine. But just remember one thing. You gain nothing from disliking a game. You gain nothing from hating anything. Already a controversial pick. Yay! I adore The Last of Us Part 2. Leave me alone. A sequel to a game that you'll probably see in a couple minutes. This game took what worked and cranked it to 11. With jaw-dropping visuals, a gut-wrenching story, complex and engaging characters. Playing this game made me glad I took advanced placement English for most of high school. This game takes place a couple years after the first game. Ellie is all grown up, Joel is retired, and everything seems to be going fine. After a certain thing happens, Ellie goes out to hunt down a new character named Abby. I don't want to get into spoiler-related stuff in this video, but just know this. This game broke me. I cried many times. This game is incredibly controversial, and a lot of the reasons are perfectly justified. If you don't like this game, that is fine. I get it. I get it. I personally loved it, but if you don't, I 100% understand. But if you are one of the people who went after and attacked the voice actors and creators, fuck you! I really probably should have put Last of Us 2 higher. Pokmon Wii Pikachu's Adventure. This game is just charming to me. That's why I like it. I grew up on it to a certain extent, and I was playing it a lot during some of the darkest moments of my life. It still made me smile then. I love this game. Yeah, it's easy, simple, basic, and really doesn't have that much going on in it. But it's so charming. I don't really have anything more to say. On to number 8. Breath of the Wild. Do I really need to explain this one? This was the first game I ever got on launch day, and my excitement was through the roof. I got it on Wii U, and I ran around the block waiting for it to install its day one updates. After I booted it up, I was blown away by the open world. I was blown away by this open world before I even left the Great Plateau. Up to this point, my main Zelda experience was Skyward Sword, so playing this game with such a big open area was new to me. And once I got off the Great Plateau and could properly explore Hyrule, my god, it was jaw-dropping. I also really liked the story. I know a lot of people consider it to be one of the weakest parts of the game, but for me, I really enjoyed it. I found the characters likable, specifically Mipha. I will die for Fish Girl. Breath of the Wild is truly a masterpiece, and one that you need to experience if you haven't yet. Personally, I wasn't a big fan of the dungeons, and I wish there were more Zelda staples, like more traditional items and an instrument, but overall, a fantastic game. Anyways, time for lucky number 7. Redhead Girl Climbs Big Hill. In my opinion, there is no genre more classic than the 2D platformer. It's how video games were reborn with Super Mario Bros., and to this day it remains one of the most popular genres in all of gaming. But my personal favorite 2D platformer isn't a Mario game. Yeah, it's Celeste. Celeste should be studied in schools because it is the perfect example of good game design, excluding Farewell. With such well-designed levels, great music, and self-explanatory gameplay, you have 2 special things about your moveset. A grab, which lets you climb, and a dash, basically a double jump. That's it, and the rest of the game will base everything off these 2 mechanics. It's so good. And that's not even talking about the story. The story is so good too. I love this game. It may have given me the worst case of video game PTSD I have ever experienced with its bullshit final level, but that doesn't change the fact that it is a masterfully done 2D platformer, and you need to play it. Anyways, on to number 6. Hey, remember when I talked about The Last of Us? You want me to do it again? The first Last of Us game is something that everyone should experience at least once. The way it's able to implement its story in such a relatable and engaging way. Also, I played this game for the first time during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, it hit a bit too close to home in some places. Other than reminding me how fucked up our world is, God, it's so good. I honestly don't have that much more to say without getting into full-blown spoiler territory, so let's move on to number 5. Now we are getting into some more heavy hitters. This is my favorite platformer of all time. Super Mario Galaxy may just be the perfect game, and while it's only at number 5, it's probably the game I have the most fun playing on the list. Super Mario Galaxy took the standard Mario format and made it actually feel special again. At the end of the day, the story is still just Bowser kidnaps Peach, but it's done with so much more pizzazz that it makes everything feel actually important. In a lot of Mario games, Bowser is just kind of a goofball. But in this game, he feels like a serious and dangerous antagonist, and I've always loved that. And this isn't even mentioning the game's main gimmick. It's in fucking space! Like, come on! Mario Galaxy is the greatest Mario game ever made in my opinion. And I didn't even talk about the music. Please, play this game if you haven't. It's incredible. It's as close to flawless as Nintendo has ever gotten with Mario. By now, you are probably noticing a pattern with the games I enjoy. I enjoy games that have a balance of deep story and engaging gameplay. This theme will stay true throughout the rest of the games on this list. Case in point, Pokemon Black and White. Gen 5 was the first Pokemon generation I got into, and I picked a great place to start. This is considered the best Pokemon game by many, and I wholeheartedly agree. Team Plasma is the best evil team Pokemon has ever made, mainly because they aren't really an evil team. The main antagonist of this game, End, is not just a bad guy. He's recognized by a legendary Pokemon as a hero. It's not a story that's just black and white. See what I did there? For the first time, we have a Pokemon game with a story that genuinely has true depth. Now, Pokemon Black and White 2 are also great games, but in my opinion, the originals are truly the best Pokemon games ever made, with these sequels being next on that list. These are the Pokemon games that I recommend for getting into the franchise, because it's the perfect representation of what this series is about in my opinion. I adore these games. Anyway, let's move on to number 3. Another RPG! Time to make more people mad. Undertale. Yeah, I said it. Undertale is my 3rd favorite game of all time. Fuck off! This game is an example of basically perfect implementation of its core idea. A choice-based game where your choices actually matter. Which isn't easy to do, especially for an indie. And that's only half the reason I love this game. The other reason? This game leaks personality from every hole. The characters, including Haha Funny Sans Undertale, the music, the artwork, it just has charm. It pulled at my heartstrings and still does whenever I replay this game. Now, on to number 2. Another choice-based game. I used to hate games like this. Guess my opinion changed. Here's a game that most people probably don't expect from me. Life is Strange. Yeah, I enjoyed this game way more than I thought I would. This game is the perfect representation of greater than the sum of its parts. The story was so engaging, heartbreaking, and enjoyable to me. I want to specify, to me, this game is one of the most love it or hate it games ever made in my opinion. It's so cheesy. Like my god. For me, it creates contrast when dark things happen and adds to the experience. But for others, it's just a distraction and ruins the game for them. I get that. I really do. But personally, this game shook me to my core, and I highly recommend it if you're into choice-based games, story-based games, Ben enjoyment-based games, or bean-based games.
Those were my beans, Max! Those were my fucking beans!
Exactly. Now, without further ado, it's time to piss off even more people and reveal my favorite game of all time. Please don't hate me for this. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Still here? Good. Just making sure. Look, I grew up on this game. I am biased. I know. But you know what? Who cares? Your favorite game of all time is usually going to be something you grew up on. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This game means so much to me. The music can still get me to tear up to this day. I still find the world enjoyable to explore. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. And the dungeons are arguably the best the series has to offer. Like there's one where it's just a pirate ship, and you get to explore it both in the present where it's all dusty and abandoned, and in the past where it's in its prime. That's so cool! And this is the best story Zelda has ever told. Period. There is so much character and life in all the main characters, especially a Zelda who's actually worth a damn as a character, and Fi. I like Fi. Shut up. Her farewell at the end of the game still makes me cry. I admit it. I don't care. Does this game have flaws? Yes. Do I really care? Nope. This game took up a major part of my childhood, and I will always cherish it for that reason. I have written about this game in school and what impact it had on my life. I wouldn't be making this video right now if it weren't for it. I'm dead serious. Is it objectively the best game on this list? No. But who cares? I adore it, and I will never apologize for that. And with that, my list of favorite games of all time is done. Well, kinda. This list will never be definitive. Like, I put Pokemon Wii above Last of Us 2. I'm sorry, pardon? This list will most likely change, but it's a good representation of what I enjoy about video games. I enjoy games with depth in its plot, engaging gameplay, and good music. Those three things, but also games that mean something to me on a personal level. Defining your favorite can be challenging, so picking 10 games was kinda hard. At the end of the day, I hope I either gave you some good recommendations, or a different viewpoint on a game you personally don't like. Remember, you gain nothing from hating a title, so try to make an effort on enjoying every game you play. And if you don't like it, don't go online and criticize those who do like it. My favorite game for the last 10 years has been Skyward Sword, and a decade of people shitting on your favorite game can kinda sting. So don't try to convince people to hate a game. Anyways, that's all from me. Thanks for watching.